Oh, damn. What's up guys, my name is Kale, and today on the King of Games we're going to be talking about this. This is the SLAB, which stands for the Sillybutts Lever Action Blaster. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, I want to start by saying this is actually the first 3D printed blaster that we're covering in depth on the channel. Not that we've never talked about them before, but we've never reviewed one in full depth. There was a video that I may release in a future date that was actually recorded before this one, but at the time this video is coming out, this is the first. When it comes to 3D printed blasters, there's a lot of cool things about them and that people can customize, but with that also comes variants, which means that the version that I'm reviewing right here in front of you may not be the exact version that you are looking at or looking for. This particular variant is the Trailblazer slab, and it was printed by Zoomed Out Jehovah on Etsy. But more on that later. 3D printed blasters don't usually come with retail packaging, so we're going to skip a what's in the box and go straight to an overview of the blaster. Starting in the rear, this version of the slab has a skeletonized stock with an adjustable cheek rest and a removable butt plate. Then you've got the grip, which is very, very angled. You've also got the knuckle guard, which assists in the lever action priming. We've got a trigger here, and if you look real closely,
what is that?
There's actually a string that goes along the bottom here all the way up through to engage the trigger mechanism, not a spring like we're used to seeing. Moving to the other side, there's actually a de-priming lever. These printed bars sandwich the mag weld together, which are held in by 2 pins. We've got a length of Picatinny across the top, a barrel retaining thumb screw right here. You've got the plunger tube here and the spring inside of it. The foregrip on this slab is actually a horizontal pump grip, which has an M-lock pattern into it for attachments. This blaster functions very differently than some of the other blasters that you've probably seen in the past. Not just with most blasters you've seen, but even among other lever action blasters like Zombie Strike Slingfire. When you prime the blaster, the entire magwell actually moves with the priming motion. To compress the spring, which once fires, actually uses a turnaround to deliver the air to the dart. So this blaster is a lever action spring-powered blaster, and it is in fact mag-fed, which means we have to talk about magazine compatibility. Now this blaster was designed for the Talon platform, i.e. worker Talons, so we can take all the variations of straight Talons, including the banana mags and these 10-round mags. But outside of that, there are also a few other mags that it's compatible with. It is compatible with the brand new Coda mags. I did try firing it and it worked just fine. Also designed by Eli Wu, we have the Tai Chi mags. What? And they fit no problem. Although a bit bulky with this blaster. But interestingly enough, the Tryon mags fit. And feed reliably. So you have that blaster, you have one extra mag in your arsenal if you get this one. If you want to see a full review of the blaster that this magazine comes with, then check out the link over here. Last but not least, we have the Unicorn mag. And this mag, of course, fits because it's a Worker Talon mag clone, basically. That's all the mags that I have that fit. Just in case you're wondering, the new X-Shot mags do not fit. My first impressions of this blaster are very good. I really like the ergonomics. I have used both a standardized slab as well as the Trailblazer slab, and I gotta say, I actually really prefer the Trailblazer. The cheek rest really helps with the ergonomics, and really adds to that Western cowboy vibe that I think people interested in this blaster are looking for.
I'm your huckleberry.
Before we get into testing, I want to point out something I don't really like right off the bat, which is how loose these sections of Picatinny are. Now this isn't just this blaster, it's the slab in general. Something I don't really like if I was going to take this seriously and put an optic on. And this is a high performance blaster. This is going to be performing much higher than your average like Slingfire or Nerf branded blaster. So with a blaster in that range, the optics do matter. That being said, let's see exactly what kind of performance we're getting. Starting with an FPS test. Alright guys, we got 5 of these worker darts. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so with a low of 175 and a high of 218, this blaster has an average of 185 FPS and a 43 FPS spread. Now the 218 was an outlier, and without that the spread would be a lot tighter, somewhere around 10 or so FPS. But nonetheless, the outlier exists, and we're gonna take it over and see how accurate it is. All right guys, we backed this thing up to about 50 feet, and now let's see how accurate it is. Hit. 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 And hit. Now let's go inside and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright guys, so as you can see, 5 out of 5 shots. This thing's pretty accurate even without a rifling attachment. But of course I did take it out to some games as well, and we'll talk about how that went. Even though the blaster is fairly accurate on its own merits, I did attach a rifling attachment for an increase for those games to give it a fair shake, and I ran into several issues. First issue I ran into was the plunger tube coming unseated, and this did happen not once but twice. One of those times was during gameplay, and one of those times was during testing. Oh, that's not good. That did not sound. Oh, the plunger tube just came off.
Oh.
It is slightly annoying, but a quick fix to that would be to dab a little bit of glue here so it couldn't possibly come undone. If I remember correctly, the work instructions actually say something along those lines, but either way, not a huge deal. Now let's talk about the second issue I ran into. What happened is that the barrel kept coming unseated. Nice try. Oh, there we go. There's the problem.
Hi, man.
Even when I really cranked this down, so I had to keep pushing it in mid-game, shot to shot. Which can be really, really frustrating. But it seems to have kind of resolved itself now. One other thing that might have contributed to that, and is the third issue that I ran into, is there are 2 pushers on the O-ring here, and during one of the games I actually lost both of them.
Skill issue.
So just make sure that these are very well lubed because they can stick and come off, and that might have had to do with what was forcing the barrel out. And I want to stress that it's not just this particular slab, but several slabs that I've held that have had some of these issues. And although I really do like this blaster, and I'm going to talk about why in a second, I just really felt like you guys needed to know about these things because most of the other reviews seem to kind of gush over the blaster while glossing over the negatives. For those of you guys who choose to buy one of these, I want you to love it for all the right reasons and not be disappointed with your purchase. But I don't think you will be, because this blaster is a ton of fun. First, I feel like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, just hitting them with the... A couple other things I want to talk about with this blaster is the overall size. Now, it may not look it here, but in comparison to another blaster, like the SBL, you can see how massive this blaster truly is, and why I wouldn't really recommend it in a competition setting. Having a long blaster does make it hard to get behind cover. The priming mechanism can be awkward in certain positions. Because of the choice to use elastic instead of a spring, the trigger pull itself is actually really kind of difficult. If you pull the trigger right in the middle, it really just doesn't want to release. So you do have to consciously be at the very bottom to get the best leverage to take the shot. And even then, it just doesn't feel good because of that. But I don't want you to think that I don't like this blaster. I just want you guys to know all of the negatives about it so you can really make a well-informed purchasing decision. And I'm confident that even with these negatives, that a lot of you guys will still really enjoy this blaster like I did. The fun factor cannot be overstated. I feel like I'm Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and Terminator all rolled into one when I use this blaster.
No!
And that's one of the things I really love about Nerf and Sillybutts designs in general. Impracticality is not always a negative. It still would be fun as heck to match it with something like the new Dart Zone Outlaw for a Wild West loadout. Also, the print quality of this blaster cannot be understated. This is a really clean print job. If you guys really like this exact blaster, you can actually buy this on Zoomed Out Jehovah's Etsy, and I'll link it down below. And as an added bonus, you can actually get $25 off of this blaster or any other blaster that Jehovah makes by using code KINGOFGAMES. So let Tahova know down in the comments that we appreciate the love, the support, and of course, the savings. I'm thinking of starting to do loadout videos, and if I do, maybe the Wild West theme will be the first one on my list. But let me know if that's something you guys would be interested down in the comments below. And if you're interested in seeing a full video on the Dart Zone Max Outlaw, make sure to mag dump that like button, because it's the next video coming out after this. Alright, well that's all I have for you guys today, and until next time on the King of Games, have a blast.